Hello, everyone. We are back. It is the Canadian Bowler Show. I am Mike Patuli, joined here today by Daryl Fitzgerald. How's it going, Daryl?
All good, Mike. What's that on your shoulder?
Well, WrestleMania weekend, I figured we had to break out the new trophies for the Canadian Bowler Open. So happy to display, show off here today the trophies that we've had made for the Canadian Bowler Open. So the bad boy on my shoulder right now is for the singles championship, and then displayed back there on the wall, you can see the tag team championships. So if for anyone that is coming to Canadian Bowler Open this summer, you can win either, well, one or both of these fantastic trophies.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd definitely start out the show and show them off here a little bit. If you are here, though, we do always want to remind you to hit the like, comment, subscribe buttons. Any sort of interaction, we do appreciate any sort of interactions we can get. So please do hit those buttons because it does help us out immensely. Our show is live on YouTube within the day, so you can check it out after the fact. If you're a podcast person, you can check the show out on all major podcasting platforms within the week of the show. We usually have it uploaded within the week. So we can get right into it. We got some good info, lots of stuff to talk about, I guess, going around this time. Do we want to lead off with our updates about the Canadian Bowler Open, Daryl, since we're already talking about that?
Yeah. It just showed the little plug there, but we were excited to announce that we are sponsored the show and the CB Open by Bowls in Canada. So if you're looking for bowls, go check out Bowls in Canada and get everything that you need right there. For the CB Open, we do have some interesting stuff. I'm just gonna hop over to the website here so I can scroll through it. We're regularly updating the details. As you can see here, we've actually added in the singles and pairs qualifying rounds and dates. We had some questions around, is singles first, is pairs first, and we realized that we didn't have it specifically detailed out, even though we've said it to ourselves a number of times, and we constantly talk about singles and then pairs. It is singles and then pairs. So singles qualifying round will be on August 30th, and the knockout rounds will be on the 31st. And then the pairs, the qualifying rounds will be September 1st, and the knockout rounds on September 2nd. So keep those in mind. We have updated the conditions of play with that information as well. Just scrolling down a bit, we do have all the registered players noted up here, but you will notice that we have expanded the field to 40 players. So we've added 8 more spots on the singles, and we have added 8 more spots on the pairs as well. What this means is obviously more opportunity for people to get in, but it also means that we're going to be shaking up the qualifying and the knockout rounds a little bit. And to detail that, basically we will have 5 rounds of qualification. Not everybody will play 4 rounds, but we will have 5 scheduled rounds because we need to rotate people in and out of greens. So we're hoping that this goes really smoothly and everybody's on board with that, but it does mean that we can get 8 more people in. And then the knockout rounds, it will still be 16 top players will play for the championship belt. The next 16 will play for the Consolation Cup, but then the bottom 8 will have really their own challenger flight and to get to a winner of those 8 in each the pairs and the singles. So a 16 knockout bracket, a 16 knockout bracket, and then an 8 knockout bracket, and we should be able to complete that all in 4 days and give you guys hopefully some amazing bowls on amazing greens and some really fun times. That's really the main point for us is making sure that this is fun. So always check out the conditions of play. We're updating those, making sure that they're full and complete. And then also our combinations. So if you are coming to Calgary, you are from basically out of town, Canadian Bowler Accommodation, we're using Aloft Calgary University. You can get some special deals there. We have the rates and fees on the accommodation page. We have the reservation procedures noted on our page, as well as all the amenities and whatnot. So check out all the details on our webpage. Mike, do you want to talk about some of this?
Yeah, definitely. So currently, I guess on the championship belt, in the middle of it is obviously their Canadian Bowler Open logo. Beyond that, we have two side plates on the belt. So part of the Canadian Bowler Open is we're going to have the King of the Green and the Queen of the Green awards given to the top bowlers of each gender at the end of the two events. So beyond just playing for the titles, you're going to be receiving points according to how you do in each of the events. So it gives anyone there extra incentive to play as well as they can, win as many games as they can, because there will also be an additional cash prize given to the player who has the most points of each of the genders at the end of the two events. So another sort of fun or interesting way to get a little extra money to the players. That's kind of the main focus of our event, is we really want to get as much money as we can to the players. So we're adding in this extra little stipulation there, and then it does sort of motivate everyone there. So there will be another nice cash prize, and a little bit of there will be another award that we would be giving to them as well. So definitely, if you're interested in the event, please do register. CanadianBowler.ca is the website, so go and check out the website. Daryl did say there is openings now, so since we've expanded the event, we have a couple openings in the singles, and then is it 8 in the pairs, I believe, Daryl?
Yes, we had a couple dropouts in both areas. So yeah, 2 in the singles currently, and 8 in the pairs. And again, even if you don't snag one of those, make sure you get on the waiting list, because as you saw, we went through the pretty much the entire waiting list and got them into the event. So get on that waiting list, get your entries in now, and make sure that you get that spot that you want.
Yeah, no, definitely get on there as quick as you can, because it's getting pretty close to the summer now, and it's probably about that time that you're going to be planning your events or what you're going to be doing this summer. So definitely get on that as soon as you can, because before you know it, it's going to be bowling season in roughly about a month for most of the Canadians here. So crazy to think. So I think that's all we wanted to talk about with Canadian Bowler Open. That's right, Daryl.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, again, check out that site. Shoot us an email, CanadianLawnBowler@gmail.com. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those for you as well.
Cool. Where do you want to pivot to next? I'll let you direct it, because I could see a couple logical ways of continuing this.
I think I'm gonna hop to the para just quickly. We'll shoot that up. The Parabowls national team was announced, and some really cool players on there. I won't even call him friend of the show. I'll call him father of the show. Andy Caldwell, Luke Caldwell's dad, will be competing in South Africa as part of the Parabowls national team, along with Jack Smart from Alberta and Louise McLean from Heritage Greens, my home club, and her director Leanne Franklin as well. Will be heading down there. Really cool. This will be really pretty much our maiden voyage into there. So usually competitors are putting the maple leaf on their back and competing for Canada down there in South Africa. And just want to let you know, they are trying to raise some funds to help them get down there. It is expensive. International travel, international competition is always expensive. So I've put the link in the description, but also check out the Bowls Canada Facebook page. There's some links on there for the fundraising that they're doing. So make sure, if you can support them, please give some support. I know Andy, Jack, and Louise would greatly appreciate that. So That's awesome. And Andy Caldwell in the chat saying that Burt Ends Productions, so that's the uh, basically the Bulls streaming production that they have down there in South Africa, will be streaming games. So join their Facebook and make sure you follow them so you can actually see what they'll be streaming. So thanks for that, Andy. Really, really cool. And that'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, no, if you have a few extra dollars or you want to give some support to the players going there, definitely check out the site. And if you feel compelled, make a donation. I know I'm definitely going to be making one myself here. And I really do hope they have a great time there and represent us proudly, because I'm very excited about Parabowls in this country, and I think it's something that's going to develop pretty nicely here in the next few years. So I'm excited to see our first Canadian contingent going international there.
Absolutely. Really, really cool. While we're at it, do we want to announce another event that's coming up?
Yeah. So the logical pivot I thought we were going to go with is we were already talking about the Calgary Lawn Bowling Club and them being an absolutely terrific place.
I should have seen that. So
Calgary Lawn Bowling Club has announced another event. So they're going to be a busy place this summer. So Bulls RoarFest Youth Open is going to be hosted also at the Calgary Lawn Bowling Club. That's going to be from July 26th to the 28th of this summer. So something that's we've talked about previously on the show, pretty much the end of last nationals or the youth nationals there, it kind of became apparent that the changes that BCB was going to be making was going to be cutting essentially that 21 to 25 crowd out of a few years of their U25s, and then the 14 kind of age bracket also was a little problematic, because you're going to sort of be restricting some of those younger players from playing. So the Alberta coaches, Mike O'Reilly and Pat Voss, decided they wanted to sort of spearhead or try and get something together for this year. So proud to say, happy to say that they're able to bring their vision to reality here. So Bulls RoarFest, July 26th, 28th. They've got, I can't really read the poster on the top of my head. I'll just go off, or Daryl, maybe you can say what the events are.
Registration fees will be $50 per player, and all fees will go back to prize money along with donated and sponsorship funds. So everything you put in is going to be coming back to the players. They're going to be doing singles, so 4 games per player, 2 7-end sets with a 1.5 hour time limit, plus 1 playoff game on the final day. And then pairs, 4 games, 10 ends, 3 bulls with a 1.5 hour time limit, and 2 playoff games per team on the final day. So a lot of cool stuff. Check out their website. Go to the Calgary Lawn Bowling Club website. Check out RoarFest. You'll see it on Facebook as well under their sites. If you have youth in your province, if you have youth in your club, make sure they check this out, because it's a really, really cool event. Something that they're trying to start up, and we really, really want to see it succeed. So we'll be hyping that up for a little while, and make sure that you guys are constantly aware that it's going on, and that and what's happening with it. But yeah, I'm excited. Calgary Lawn, just knocking them out of the park here, I think.
Yeah, no, the two very big events over the span of the summer coming out of there, which it's obviously a bustling club, so it's good to see that they're putting their foot in there and doing everything they can. So yeah, I'm very excited to see that event come into place, because I know that there was a lot of younger bowlers that were a little disheartened that sort of the changes that are occurring this year are going to cut them out of some bowling. So the opportunity is there, and as I was saying, the $50 fee is going to go to sort of some prizes. So there's going to be some pretty nice prizes involved as well. So definitely check out their website if you are interested, or if you have young bowlers in your club that you want to sort of push towards playing to some competitive events, maybe getting some experience. This is a great opportunity for them. So definitely push any of the players that you do know at your home club towards this, because I think this is a great stepping stone if you are wanting to really get into the competitive play as much as you can as a youth player.
And as we know, the some of these events internationally are going to selection base, so there is no real under 25 winner now out of the Canadians. So this is just another way for people to get seen, show their stuff. If they're an awesome player, they can go into this event, show that they're an awesome player, and really just give them another avenue to show why they deserve to be selected for that.
Awesome. Okay, so glad we were able to pivot to that one. I figured it was the most logical
It
after
should have
talking
been.
about our event at the Calgary Lawn Bowling Club, but I
Yeah.
digress. Anyways, we can move on to probably, I guess, what the big topic of the day.
Ooh.
We might as well call it that, I guess. So Team Canada was finally announced months
Months.
later.
Yeah.
Literally, I think we had probably 3 consecutive shows where we just said, "Yep, we're waiting. Yep, we're waiting." So finally, it happened. So Team Canada was announced probably about a week ago, not quite a week ago, somewhere in that range. So they did announce it. There was 12 men and 8 women named to the team. I believe you have some photos queued up there, Daryl.
Yes,
So
sir.
first name to the team, not a surprising name to see there, Ryan Bester. So the Master Blaster, the kind of the all-time, probably one of the greatest Canadian bowlers there's ever been. So obviously a name there, especially after his world championship. And then John Bazier was also named to the team. And then we got a friend of the show, Cam LaFriend. And then Rob Law and Owen Kirby, Greg Wilson, Pat Bird, Mike McNarton with a nice little photoshopped palm trees in the background or something. Eric Gallopo hosting that U25 trophy. John McDonald, Cody Olthoff, and Ozzy Chambers. So 12 men, pretty solid mixture from across the country. Lots of players from Ontario, obviously, and then lots of players from Alberta, it looks like. But that's not terribly surprising because we've been seeing lots of pretty quality bowlers come out of both of those provinces over the last little while. Do we want to move on to the ladies team there, Daryl?
Yes, sir.
So non-surprising pick here again would be Kelly McCarahan. Again, coming off silver at the Worlds and impressive showing there altogether. So not surprised to see Kelly there. And then Emma Boyd, also not surprising, another good showing in Australia, essentially an Australian professional bowler at this point. So not surprising again. And then Jordan Koss and Bailey Van Stein. And then Jackie Foster and Joanna Cooper and Jennifer McDonald. And then I guess the one real addition to the squad, I guess, would be Linda Ing. So our reigning, as you can see with the trophy there, indoor singles champion.
Yeah.
I think maybe back to back. I don't know. I'd have to be fact checked on that one. But again, Linda Ing from BC there was essentially the one addition or major addition to the squad there.
So before we get into the obvious questions, we'll probably bounce back and forth with each other. Just one more announcement related to the national team. Leanne Chinnery announcing her retirement from international bowls. Obviously not bowls in general, but international bowls and Team Canada. Just wanted to say my congratulations to her on such an awesome career. 19 years, just shy of 20 years. Playing at that level and being part of the Canadian national team, has been all over the world, done a lot of stuff. I was fortunate enough to be able to coach her in sort of the last chunk of that period, especially at the 2018 games in the Gold Coast, where the women did fantastic, and Leanne was a huge part of that. As we've seen, the women's team has just I won't say exploded, but they've just gotten better and better as time went on. And Leanne was a huge part of that. A huge part of the move that our women were doing so much better. So it's sad to see her go, but I'm hoping that the next chapter in her bowls career, in her life, is just exciting as the last 19. And I think I speak for both of us, and we just wish her all the best.
Yeah, no, well said. All the best to her on her future endeavors, whatever that may be. Always, I guess, sad when you see someone go, but in the same respect, you're very. I guess you have a lot of respect for the 19 years, which is obviously a pretty long time to be on any sort of a national team. So, congrats to Leanne and all the best going forward there. I guess if we're just gonna give any sort of comments or anything about the teams, so obviously a few surprises, I guess, probably on either side. You could sort of look at it either way. There's surprises probably each direction. A few of the names in the men's squad you may have been surprised to see there, and some of the names not on there potentially surprised as well. But again, with the national team, we're never 100% sure who applies, who doesn't apply. But again, pretty much everyone on those two teams has earned a way there. They've shown that they've been able to play high level bowls over probably what if we go back 5 years, last 5 years, all those players have either won championships or placed high in either like international events. A lot of them, so there's good backing for all the players that were picked there. The one sort of thing I sort of picked out when I look at it is there's obviously 8 women rather than 12 men, so that looks a little strange. Kind of leaps off the page a bit to me. I guess with your sort of background previously being involved with the national selections and stuff, do you sort of have any idea why that might happen, Daryl?
I mean, to be fair, I've seen a number of questions on some of the announcements. Why eight? Why is there a disparity between men and women? So first, the selection criteria. If you go to that, it says they can select up to 12 men and up to 12 women. So they're not meant to select 12. They can select 9, 8, 7, whatever number they actually want to. It is strange to see, but the only thing I can comment on, because obviously I'm not an official spokesperson for that. I'm not on the HPC. I'm just a regional coach at this point. They picked the people that they felt were really great contenders on the international scene, and they didn't feel that whoever may have applied for those last bunch of spots could compete at that level or weren't ready to go to that level. There is a lot of money that gets put into the national team, funds for travel and training and programs that they get involved in, which is like strength training and mental skills and all that kind of stuff, working with professionals there. So choosing 12 just to choose 12 is probably something that they didn't want to do, but they want to choose 12 if there are 12 people that fit those spots and are going to compete and have a chance to compete internationally. It's hard. It's hard as a selector to tell people no and then not fill up your spot. It's hard as a player to see if you're one of the ones that applied and said, I'm putting my name forward, and you see that they didn't fill the spot, but they also didn't choose you. That can be pretty devastating. So, I know what it feels like to be on either side of that. Be selected, not selected. I also know what it's like to be a selector and either have to select or not select. But that's my best guess, is that they had 8 solid people. Obviously, those that went to Worlds were really solid and came back with medals. So those were probably pretty easy choices, but not choosing 12, my guess is there weren't the quality that they were looking for. And I can say that the number of women that do apply is actually really low. Year over year, from when I was doing the selection, the number of women that applied was extremely low, and it's quite surprising. There's got to be some work done on the female side of our sport to encourage those that are quality players, and we have quality players all over Canada, to look at the national team and make it worth their while to apply and to be part of it, and show why it's such a great thing to be part of.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's nice to get sort of a little bit more of context or an explanation, because obviously, as I said, it leaps off the page a bit that there's a few less, but sort of what you're saying there, if there maybe isn't the quality of applicants or I guess quantity too, then that's obviously a little bit of a problem that hopefully is going to be addressed in the coming years. Like I know all the different types of events that are popping up, and developing players is a key thing that I think Bowls Canada needs to really focus on going forward, because as you're saying, there's lots of quality women bowlers there, and it's just about what they can do to maybe entice or get people interested in joining that national team. Because as you said, we have a very solid elite level group of women bowlers who are on that national team. And so then to maybe crack into that group, I think a lot of people maybe see that being a pretty big wall. So whether it's some sort of secondary events or something like that, hopefully that's on the, I guess, in the mirror for Bowls Canada, where they're trying to figure that out and get something there for people to really get interested in.
It's a tough situation. I mean, you don't want to kick people when they're down, but when you see you're not one of the ones selected, and you see that they didn't select the full 12, that's a hard pill to swallow at times. Going back to the drawing board, coaching is a huge thing. I know the regional coaching should help with this if that program really takes off. Identifying players in the provinces that are worth it, and really going around and tapping people on the shoulders and saying, hey, you're a phenomenal player, you need to be thinking about this and seeing if it's for you. And then at least that regional stage, you get a taste of it, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. No harm, no foul. Not everybody is geared towards international play and being part of a program like that. Some of them play just phenomenal nationally, and that's all they want. But some people just need that extra push. They're not ready to apply because they don't either know about it, they don't understand it, they're not quite sure if they are good enough, and sometimes they need that person just to give them that nudge and that tap on the shoulder and say, hey, you're definitely good enough, you need to apply.
That's a good point. I did not think about that part, where obviously sometimes you need that nudge or that person to really sort of push you into it. I think any bowler, every competitive bowler probably has that person that's come along and been that person that sort of pushed them into it. So good point that that's probably something that some people do need to sort of steer them maybe in that direction, and be told that you do have the potential to play nationals or international bowls for Canada type of thing. So in the chat, we got John Siteman making a couple comments. So my comment about Mike McNorton's photo, he confirmed to me that it's the palm trees of Arizona instead of a US Open backdrop. So fair enough. And then he's also congratulating Mike McNorton and Pat Bird for their selections, which I would agree with. Pat, I think I've gone on it ad nauseum about how much Pat has dominated our nationals over the last couple of years. So congrats to him, definitely, to be back on that team, because I think it'd been a few years he's been off the team, but very good to see him back on there.
Yeah, I'll also give a quick shout out to the two young guys that have been kind of sniffing around, knocking at the door a little bit. Eric and Ozzy. Really young guys on the team. Eric's been kind of showing his stuff. He's gone overseas, and Ozzy's been competing at the under 25 level, and finally cracked a spot on the national team. So hopefully they get to show their stuff and show why they got on the team, and really turn some heads and show it. So congratulations to them. It's not easy cracking for the first time. So good luck to them.
Yeah, no, I can confirm. It's thinking back about 10 years or however long ago it was when I was first named to the team. I think took me 2 national championships to to be finally named to the team. So it's a process, but it's good that they finally are getting that opportunity. And as you say, hopefully they can seize it and sort of run with it.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting 3 years. We'll see that. How about that?
Well, it's not 3 years, Daryl. It's 3 years less about 4 months because of the delay. So we need to make that apparent that it's not quite 3 years.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, so congrats to everyone. We're happy to pass that information along. It's going to be nice to see what happens. It's a bit of a turbulent little bit of time for international bowls because there's essentially nothing planned right now. So I don't really know what this team is going to get to go do. I think I've heard rumblings of a sort of a test match in Scotland this summer, and that's really all I've kind of heard about because there's been lots of problems with sort of the hosting of the different events going forward. So hopefully there's going to be more events and things popping up rather than them just essentially being a team that was named and doesn't go anywhere. But again, that's sort of another whole problem that can be addressed down the line, I guess.
For those that want to compete against some of the best, Woburn Canadian Bowler Open, you if you go and look at the names that are on there, you've got guys like Greg Wilson, Rob Law, Owen Kirby, Mike McNorton, Ozzie Chambers is in the CB Open. Go out and compete against them and show them your stuff. So you wanna compete against some of the those that have been named. Those are two of your main options in Canada to go and do that.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, John Seitman in the chat, this group would likely be involved in the 2025 World Championships. I think World Bowls was working on where to host that due to the changes in the political situation in Hong Kong. So that one, yeah, it's still a wait and see. You know, you'd think that they would be going for that, but hopefully they find another host venue for that. Scottish test match is the one that I've heard more rumblings about. So that won't be a huge world competition. That'll be like 4 or 5 teams competing against each other as kind of a multi-nations kind of thing. But hopefully that goes through because that would be a cool event anyway.
Yeah, as I say, I didn't come directly out and say what the issues were with Hong Kong being a host, but there's John letting us know what the issues were. So I knew there was issues with Hong Kong hosting the World Championship. So hopefully they do get that figured out because that's obviously a gaping hole in the schedule if they by chance didn't have a host or somewhere to have it. So we'll see what happens there. But back to what you're saying, I think if we look at that list of 12 men, we're seeing 10 or 12 of them in those 2 events that you mentioned. So if you're a male bowler, you want to play against those guys, you can pretty much play against all of them. And then a few of the ladies are also registered in different events that you would be able to go play across Canada in. So definitely do check out the events. And if you want to be the best, it always doesn't hurt to play against the best to really get yourself there.
Yeah, we didn't plan on talking about the Australian Open, but John just said that the entries have closed recently and record numbers, 1,300 in men's singles. That's crazy. And a small but mighty group of Canadians will be competing on the Gold Coast, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting us know, John. We obviously saw the Australian Open stuff there, and I did see that they actually had essentially filled it completely, and they were looking for people for the waiting list. So very cool that they have a huge contingent of people wanting to bowl down there in Australia, and hopefully that continues over into Canada, and we start to have problems like that too, where we have events that have thousands of people in it.
Absolutely.
I think so. One of the names we've mentioned a few times, we've mentioned both of these names a couple times in just our recent talks here. So the World Indoor Championships is going to be occurring. We talked about it on the last podcast. It's going to be happening April 21st to the 27th. So Mike McNorton and Linda Ing are going to be representing Canada at that event. So we wanted to mention that one more time. I'm sure there's going to be streaming of that event available, probably through, I think, last one in Guernsey. Well, I don't know if we've had one in Guernsey over the last couple of years, but Wrong Bias podcast, sort of all the podcasts in the UK, there's a couple that have streamed events there. So I'd anticipate there's going to be streaming. So if you do want to support, check out those events, definitely do so. That's coming up in just over 2 weeks. You'd be able to check out Linda and Mike competing over in Guernsey.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. I know here I've been chatting with Mike a little bit, and he's excited to go. He's trying to get out to James Gardens and whatever surface he can, just to throw bowls and get prepared and get back into that bowling form. So really excited. And World Bowls, John Siteman of World Bowls will be streaming on their Facebook page. That's a typical. And just a warning to all of our fans out there: don't fall for the scam sites. Everything is free. YouTube, Facebook, World Bowls. Same with the World Bowls Tour, and same with Bowls Australia and all the major ones. It's all free. Never fall for those scam ones.
Yes, well said. I hate all of those links, and it always happens. But unfortunately, that's the world we're in, where if there's anything that people will click on to get misdirected somewhere, it happens. So yes, World Bowls is going to be where you should probably check out first, see their Facebook page, and go from there to get the streaming. Okay, so that's what we had about the World Indoor. Did we have? I think we had one other topic today. Is that right, Daryl?
Yeah. Just came in today. We had reached out to Bowls Alberta to ask about their provincial format. Last show we had kind of talked about an email that had circled around and had been posted. So we just reached out to Bowls Alberta to get an official statement on the format they're using, and if they had any reasoning behind it and information. So we did get an email back from their program committee chair. And I'll read some of it here. Alberta Program Committee came to the table with the same idea for building the 5-person team. So a strong singles player and then 2 pairs teams. Everyone thought long and hard about how to build this team. And Alberta have a small group of players and people to draw from to establish these teams. And they also didn't want to neglect people who didn't have a connection to that small group of competitive players. They wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance. And they wanted to increase the number of players competing. If they had used the 5-person team that, say, Ontario or some other provinces are using, they don't think that the number of players playing would happen in Alberta. So that's the reasoning. They are going with the singles winner and 2 pairs teams. So I guess, Mike, I'll throw it to you based on that statement and what we know about it. What are your thoughts?
Like, I think on the last show we kind of talked about how it's an interesting way of doing it, because it's very different than how all the other provinces are approaching it. Like Bowls Canada conditions of play actually were released this week as well, so you're able to see the conditions of play in nationals, and it kind of essentially alludes in there that they want the provinces, or they encourage the provinces to do the 5-a-side format, so that they essentially do a play down and have your top 5 decided through a team format. So it's a different way of doing it, because I know the 10-person format had been discussed and would be allowed, but obviously they went a whole different way, and sort of what you're saying with 2 pairs teams and a singles team, very out of the box way of doing it. But I can sort of understand some of the reasoning they gave for, I guess, the participation side of things, where if you're looking at it from participation side of the world, it is harder to fill a 5-person team rather than a 2-person team. So I can see some of the justification in that. But again, sort of the way I see it is I can sort of in the email, just sort of what I see with even the national team posting there. It looks like there's a bit of regionality in Alberta, and honestly, there's regionality, I think, in almost any province where you have sort of your major clubs. So looks like there's a pretty large contingent in Calgary, a large contingent in Edmonton, and then maybe sort of the clash of that where maybe some of the Edmonton side of things, they maybe wouldn't be able to fill many 5-person teams. And I'm not sure what the whole context of it is, but it's an interesting way of doing it. Just the participation based side of it. I think it's probably going to make a less competitive squad because when you look at it from participation, is the Nationals supposed to be participation based, or is it supposed to be your best players going? So that's just my personal thoughts on it. I still respect the way that they're doing it because it probably is going to get quite a few entries to their pairs and their singles. Again, it's a little strange, I guess. The one question I'd pose to you, so one part of the email is they're saying they wanted to focus on having a strong singles player. And so in your opinion, I guess when you look at a 5-person format, let's just throw theoretical numbers out there. Say there were 5 teams, you have 5 different players playing in the singles. You're probably still going to have realistically 3 or 4 of your top singles players on those 5 teams because it's sort of the top end teams are usually going to all form, or the top players usually are going to want to play in the provincials, right? So do you see there being a huge drop off in the singles player with a 5-person format versus just sort of the open entry?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's gonna be one of those wait and see moments. I think. Uh, Focusing on singles and pairs. I mean, there's 2 other events, the triples and fours that are not really addressed there. Fours is a hard game, and I know I've seen some comments and some posts about chemistry not being a big deal, but I guess that's contrary to my opinion. I always think chemistry is a big deal. Um, I even look to your force teams that have dominated. You know, Steve McCarran's teams that have dominated. Chemistry is a huge deal. But if that's the model that they think that they can work with, and they want to give it a shot, it's one of those where I've been promoting, you know, for the bowl scandal format of five aside, you know, give the Canadians a shot and let's see how it goes. Bowls Alberta wants to do this. It's kind of like give it a shot and see how it goes, and you know, everybody can have their opinions after the fact. I I'm skeptical of it, but that's just my opinion, and I'm one person. I don't live in Alberta. I don't know the dynamics of every team and every club and all the people in it, but obviously they came to a group consensus of it. So my hope is that it goes really well and that it works for them, and that's I guess that's all I can say of it at the moment. Everything else would just be me spitballing.
Yeah, it's a bit definitely wait and see. I think the whole nationals this year is a very much a wait and see type of a season because it's been honestly a huge problem. This whole year has probably been one of the most difficult years of transition. I think that well, in my 20 something years of being involved with lawn bowling, it's been the hardest year for transitioning to stuff because everything came out late. It had opposition from the beginning. Kind of the whole rollout of everything was very poorly done from BCB's end. So I think it's definitely a wait and see approach. Try and see how it goes at nationals, and that's sort of what. Although this is a different format, it has some merit to it. Sort of the participation based side of things. If they know they might not be able to get very many squads of a 5-person team, it's valid. So we can see how it goes. I guess after the fact, there's obviously working groups and different groups that have been announced to sort of review the overall or the results and sort of what happened and make the changes for next year. Because sort of as I talked about there, it was very hotly contested from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Lots of problems were identified where provinces weren't really properly consulted. So it's kind of hard to expect the provincial bodies to just accept or do what Bowls Canada wants them to do. And obviously, foreseeing BC not even participating in the nationals this go around, it's hard to kind of impose things on people without sort of getting their agreement on it. So I think this nationals will be a very odd season. But in the same sentence, it's going to be a learning experience where I think people are going to go there. We're probably going to know pretty quickly at the nationals if it's a great success or if it's terrible. And then next year, hopefully the information that's gathered or just people's opinions, everything like that, gets through to the different committees and the decision makers so that either can be corrected or maybe slightly tweaked, whatever it is. But very interested, and I was happy to get that comment from Bold Alberta because it's very nice to get the opinion or the direct quote from the governing body itself and be able to sort of accurately represent it as such. So thanks for Bulls Alberta for getting back to us so that we are able to sort of get that information out to you.
Yeah. I was
Go
just
ahead,
going to say, when we see some of these things come out, we do try to reach out to the official places, whether it's, Bowls BC put out their official statement, so there was no need reaching out to them. They had it posted. Bowls Alberta didn't, so we wanted to just clarify that before we went into it anymore. And same with anything else. We try to do a little bit of due diligence to get that on before we do our next shows. So it's we at least have the correct information that we're talking about, and we're not just talking rumors and whatever.
So yeah, I was before you jumped in there. I was gonna just say a couple people in the chat. So John Seitman jumped in with pretty much what you were saying about the team dynamics being an important part of the national. So he's a little skeptical about how that's going to work, and sort of just hope that players end up working well together. And I would sort of be the same opinion. Just I've played with my family my whole life, and I obviously enjoy playing with my family, and we get along. And the guys that we've joined into our family have essentially become family members almost in my mind. So again, I think it's something that I think people just will eventually have to learn to work to play together, and hopefully the teams do work out. Or I really hope there's not a big dust up or something, but you never know with certain personalities, it might not work out, is sort of what John's pointing out. And then, I sort of was paraphrasing what Jesse was saying in the chat there too about the ladies side of things, maybe not having the participation. So again, people from Alberta know who bowls and who might not bowl under certain formats. So it's fair to give what they're doing a try if they don't think the lady pickup would be very high. We also have Pierre in the chat, Pierre Van de Hoot, saying it'd be interesting to see how the 24 numbers compare to 2023 in terms of entrance for the events leading to the nationals. Yes, that's very valid. I'm interested to see what the participation numbers are as well, because obviously 5-person on a team, just seeing what the overall, how many bowlers are in the events will be interesting, because Ontario will be an easy one to sort of look at, sort of seeing what your guys' open events were last year compared to this year. I guess Saskatchewan, probably Manitoba, they're all pretty much open style events. So no real tweaks to the actual formats, but just sort of the overall way it's 5 versus the individual events. So yeah, I agree, Pierre. They'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm not huge on the participation argument on this one personally. I don't know about you. Like Canadians should be hard to get to. It should be the best of the best going there. So I'm not too concerned about the provincial participation. I know some provinces are. So so that's cool if that's the way they want to go. I think there's other ways to build up the competitive groupings outside of provincials and nationals. That should be the pathway to that gold medal competing, but we don't really have that yet. We don't have a lot of inner workings and stuff around it. So this is really the only path. So until that's actually built up, um, it's tough thing to change and a tough thing to navigate. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. That's for sure.
Yeah, John in the chat saying that dependent on how big of a dust up the teams have, the umpires might have to get referee shirts. Fun fact, John: the umpires at the Canadian Bowler Open will be wearing wrestling referee shirts.
They
So
will.
fun fact there. So we're really leaning into our wrestling and UFC themed event. So something you can look forward to. The umpires at that event will be having some referee shirts to sort of throw a bit of shade, I guess, at our traditional red that the umpires always wear, but we figured it'd be a funny little take on it. So thanks for that, John. You made me laugh. So
That's
thanks
good.
for that. So I think that kind of covers what we wanted. Was there any sort of other topics you wanted to jump in there, Daryl?
I don't think so. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are watching, check out the CB Open, the Canadian Bowler Open, CanadianBowler.ca. We're looking to have a ton of fun. We've got a bunch of stuff in the works, a bunch of stuff that we're trying to plan out to make this entertaining, fun, give everybody a really good time, and make this one of the best events that we can possibly make it from our side. Get Calgary rocking and make it a spectacle. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure you sign up, check out our website, and we hope to see you there.
Yeah, no, exactly. We really are going to try and make it a spectacle, make it as fun of an event for anyone being there as possible. That's something Daryl and I both just think is paramount to really make it as enjoyable and high level event as we possibly can. We do have the main or one of our sponsors of the event, Bowls in Canada. So definitely do check their website out if you are in need of any sort of Henselite products between now and then. They're going to be a big partner of ours going to the event. We also have some other sponsors lined up. So very soon in the future, probably expect a video or some sort of updates about our additional sponsors. We sort of want to roll that out over time, just sort of let people know. But we've lined up some other sponsors, and we're excited to really have this event be an awesome, massive event for the players. I think it's going to be the biggest or one of the biggest prize pots that we have in Canada. Sort of the help of sponsors obviously injects further liveliness into that prize pot. And then sort of as we're saying, we're with the expansion, we're trying to get as many players because the interest level is there. So we are trying to get as many players as we can into the event. And just anyone who wants to join there, please do check out our website, CanadianBowler.ca, and get your registration in as soon as possible. Okay, so if you've got no further info, I guess Daryl's flashing it on the screen. If you are here, please do hit the like, comment, subscribe buttons. We've loved the interaction in the chat. We do love talking to anyone who comes in the chat, gives us info, and helps us interact with you. Subscribing also is a huge thing for us. We're over 5,000 subscribers now on YouTube. Every time you hit that button, if you haven't, it just helps us keep funneling money into the Canadian Bowler Open. So please do hit those buttons if you are here. And with that, may all your bowls be touchers.